What's up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 secrets for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that were cut from the game. And we're going to be diving through some Riddler Coup content because it hasn't been tweeting for a while, but it looks like this is some interesting stuff that would have made the Scarlet and Violet experience just a little bit better. And of course, guys, if you like my type of content, enjoy these videos, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it. Consider supporting the channel by joining the Pan Fam. Hit that join channel member button below. So let's just dive right into it. So Riddler Coup has been tweeting out 5 different secrets, and the first one is, let's talk about some interesting stuff. Ryfard is actually an international criminal in the settings. She also got a side quest during the DLC development, but almost nothing was implemented in the final game. Clavel also only knows that she's sus, but doesn't know her actual identity. Maybe he would ask the player to keep an eye on her. Now, I can actually definitely believe this because there are hints throughout the game that Ryfard is maybe not everything that she says she is. So one, the most obvious is her main side quest in the base game is completing the Ruins of Treasure. And there's all 4 of those. And of course, if you know about the treasures of Ruin, they're sort of evil. They're like based on like evil, like Chinese curses essentially. And I mean, they're treasure as well. So you can look at her as like an international thief or criminal trying to take these treasures, but also like the legendary Pokemon are sort of evil themselves as well. So there's like 2 ways to look at it from that. I mean, she's also literally wearing like a bunch of legendary-esque stuff. I mean, she has an Articuno necklace on, so she's clearly involved with the legendaries. And, you know, I can see criminals being involved trying to take the items of legend in this case. Another thing is when you do complete her quest, she does give you the TM for Nasty Plot. So, you know, Nasty Plot, these are plotting nasty things to steal. So it makes a lot of sense there. And I could definitely see Clavel, you know, wanting us to keep an eye on her. And I'm sure there could have been something really cool in the DLC with her. But sadly, she didn't really get anything in the DLC outside of the Academy at the end. But pretty much that's nothing else. I mean, pretty much every other NPC got something similar too. And they just didn't really add much to the teachers at all, which is definitely a big missing point for me personally, because I thought the school aspect was pretty neat and they just didn't do as much as I wanted them to do. Now, next up, let's talk about the Paradox Pokemon. And I think this was actually the most interesting piece of content that we could have gotten for Scarlet and Violet. So during the development of Scarlet and Violet, the stats of Paradox Pokemon were changeable in battle according to the weather and terrain of the field. But because of some bugs, it ended up being a held item, aka booster energy, for a substitution of presenting this feature. So this is really cool, and this actually would have completely changed how the Paradox Pokemon would have worked, how good they would have been in the meta as well in both VGC and singles play. So to give an example, right? So like right now, the Scarlet Paradoxes, they get a boost from the sun, and the Violet ones, they only get a boost in electric terrain. Now, it seems like all weather and all terrains would have had some sort of effect on the Paradox Pokemon. And it seems like different Paradoxes might have gotten different boosts to it. So in my opinion, like some like Iron Bundle, when it was actually snowing, you know, as snow was a weather condition, might have actually given the Iron Bundle like a huge like boost to one of its stats, instead of just having to be on electric terrain and, you know, getting a boost to his highest stat. And I can see maybe like a different weather correlates to a different stat, which could have definitely changed how the meta works out at the end of the day. Now, another thing is, if this whole ability thing worked out with the different stats or different weather or different terrains, not only does this increase the viability of weather and terrain setters, but this also means booster energy. The item never gets created because, you know, their whole plan worked, which means now you can have situations where you have like, you know, some like Fluttermane with like a focus sash on Fluttermane, and it's still getting all the crazy boosts from different sources, either weather or terrain or even a combination of both. And that would have made these Pokemon even more broken than they currently are right now in the metagame. So that would have been really crazy to see. And honestly, it is a disappointing factor that they could not actually implement it due to the limitations of the battle system that they currently made. Maybe in the future, we'll see improvements to this battle system. And I can actually believe this because there was a bug early on where Weezing's neutralizing gas would have an interaction with the Paradox Pokemon that didn't work on them at all. So it's actually really interesting to just see how, there's probably had it coded in and they've heard about the wheezing aspect of neutralizing gas. Next up, this is something I'm not too surprised about. Originally, there was a feature that could give the mark to any Pokemon who join in one special 7-star raids in the DLC, but so far only Mew uses this way, and you can keep playing the game if you are a Mightiest Mark collector. So it seemed like the Mightiest Mark was something that would be given to the Pokemon as well, besides the Pokemon you capture, given to the Pokemon that you use to actually defeat the Mightiest Mark Pokemon. So, Mew has that for doing the Mewtwo raid. As an example, like if an Alolan Muck beat the Mewtwo raid, then the Alolan Muck would have also gotten the Mightiest Mark. So that is very disappointing because I think the Mightiest Mark would have been a cool thing to flex just to see, oh, this thing is like a raid destroyer. But unfortunately, it only really appears either on Mew or any of the 7-star raids that we've done. Also, I am disappointed in the lack of cool 7-star raids that we've gotten in the game so far. And it seems like we're getting them only once a month now, which I do think is quite disappointing in general. Next up, season systems were supposed to be in Scarlet and Violet, but they didn't make the cut when SV got released. So you can see the Deerling weirdly living together at the same time. So this is very similar to seem like Black and White had a season system, where depending on when you're actually playing the game, the grass encounters and the Pokemon that would appear in the grass would be different based on the season. And also the Deerling's form would change based on the type of season it was. And this would take place throughout the entire game. But it seems like more in Scarlet and Violet, the way they did it was each area just has a set season, especially you can see within the Indigo Disc DLC where there's 4 very distinct seasons. So it seems like it would have been more dynamic, and I don't know if this would have tied into the system clock, but that would have been really interesting to actually have different Pokemon spawns in different areas based on the time period on your Switch clock. That would have been really cool to see, but unfortunately they could not implement that feature. Now the last thing is this little baby Terrakavos did get so many good forms in its design specification book pages, and unfortunately ended up being unfinished with those rushed final scenes. Hopefully we see them one day from other media of the franchise like the anime or spin-offs. So it seems like Terrakavos did not get everything it deserved within the Indigo Disc DLC. And I don't, honestly, I agree. The Indigo Disc was incredibly rushed. The Terrakavos stuff just happens after nowhere. It just comes out, it happens. It's like a 30-minute sequence of going to Area 0 and fighting it, and that's about it. And yeah, I thought there was going to be more. I thought it was going to look maybe more like it does in the book. It sort of is, but it doesn't. I don't know. I felt like this Pokemon in general was a disappointment. I wish there was more forms to it or more stages or something else. Maybe a Zygarde situation where there is maybe 4 forms to it. That would have been really cool to see. But overall, I thought this little turtle, very cute for sure. Probably just very disappointing to me with this whole setup of it. But as we saw with Zygarde in the anime, it did get a lot more going on in the anime than it ever got in the game. So I do think we'll see something with Terrakavos in the anime that will make this Pokemon much cooler than it actually is in the games. But there we have it, guys. Those are 5 secrets of the SV content right there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and let me know what you wish you saw in SV that was not in the game at all. Personally, from this list, I do think the Paradox Pokemon one would have been the absolute coolest to see, how that would affect competitive battling and all of that. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.